What is up? It's your boy, Johnny Shreve, Mr. Tell It Like It Is. Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we are coaching up Mike Thurston's How to Get Bigger and Stronger 5x5. So we're gonna go through this video, go through each exercise and see where we can optimize Mike's training and see where you guys can optimize your training as well too. We're going over front squats, incline barbell press, and T-bar rows. Let's get into it. Before is pretty good, to be honest, and he's using the straps as a really good substitution if you don't have mobility in your wrists. And I'll show you how to actually set that up. When we're doing front squats in the bar, we wanna make sure we're putting the hooks like right a little bit lower than your shoulder. Because when we get this, we wanna be in here and be able to stand up and go back out. Now, you can see I don't have the mobility to do proper front rack position. And that's what that is. This is proper front rack position. I don't have the mobility to do that yet. This is an awesome way to do it. Now there's another way you can do it too. Again, we have the whole crossover arms like this type thing. And that is okay. It's just the cue I'm gonna tell you guys the same thing I need you to make sure you're doing, whether you're crossing your arms using these or your front rack. So if you're trying to set these up, here's how we're doing these. If you have these kind of straps, you're gonna take your strap right here and you're gonna basically wrap it in. We're here like this. And then same thing. Now we have these things set up. Mike grabs them like this, it's fine. You grab them like this, and that's good and all, but that might, after a while, get very annoying. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab the end of our straps and we're gonna wrap them over. And you might have to readjust because we wanna get these as close as you possibly can. So I might go here and then do this, and now I'm super close to the handles from here. So I have this really good grip from here. Now from here, what I wanna do is make sure that my arms are shoulder apart. I don't wanna be like this and have this thing going, I'm doing this crap. It's so annoying. Make sure they stay shoulders apart. We're gonna walk our elbows underneath, keep our chest up, walking up, getting underneath the weight, elbows going high, and then up. Then we're gonna walk back. Now, here's what we wanna make sure we do when we're doing these. Mike was here, and then his arms end up being like this. And then we end up squatting like this, and my elbows are down here. I want my elbows to be here. That's gonna straighten my back out and keep the weight up because this is being held by my arms being here. So if my arms dip, this will eventually roll down, and that's what we don't wanna happen. So your entire rep will look like this start to finish. We're gonna adjust our hands and make sure when we wrap underneath that our arms are nice and close, shoulders apart, walk underneath, make sure it's on right on the top of our collarbone, standing up, elbows are staying high, walking back to our wedges, and I wanna make sure my elbows stay up on the way up and up on the way down.
Like, I've really not got any stronger on my bench. And to be honest, I don't care because I have a massive chest. That's all I really care about. However, it is sometimes a little bit demoralizing whenever you train with people like Larry Wheels and they're lifting 5 plates and you're struggling to do 3 plates. So hopefully after doing this for a couple of weeks.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there. If your goal in your training program is to be stronger or to not be embarrassed by other people, you're doing it all for the wrong reasons. Do not measure yourself up to other people, overlooking your own goals and just watching somebody else in theirs. So when it comes down to it, guys, feeling demoralized next to Larry Wheels is the strongest person on earth. So if you're doing 3 plates or 2 plates, who cares? Don't try to get stronger for other people so you don't feel weak around other people. Your goals are your goals, their goals are their goals. What I see here is like a very common thing. Basically, we warm up and we're not warm up consistent. So the range of motion is, you know, it's pretty good, then it's all right, then it's not much there. And then as soon as they're adding weight on, now things starting to change. Not necessarily as much for Mike, but for most people, when you add weight, form goes to the window. So let's go ahead over to incline barbell press and coach you up on that. Okay guys, so when you're setting up your incline barbell press, like you're gonna have to make some adjustments. Don't just come in and be like, sit down and start moving. The biggest thing is how far is your arms gonna be away from here? How easy is it to take it off? So your seat should be high enough that you can grab the bar and extend your elbows and just come off. If your seat's too high where you have to do a full press, it's too high. If it's too low and you can't reach, not good. So make sure you set your seat up. So on your back, and you grab the bar and set yourself, then you can just basically press up and come off. Now, getting into that position to begin with, before we actually get into the pressing, very important that we sit on the ground. And I want you guys to see what my body's actually doing when I'm pressing. I'm gonna do the action without the actual bar to start. When I do a press, this is what my body's going through. I'm here, right? My shoulders from the ground, my feet are gonna be a little bit underneath my knees, slightly. This gives me more leverage. If I'm here, there's not much leverage because I'm pushing from here, right? So my body is actually doing this. And to stop me from moving up is based that transfer is going from there, right? So that power is coming from my legs. And then to stop me from going here, I'm push my butt in the back of the bench. And then when I have the bar, my shoulders are back and away from my ears. And then on the way down, you'll watch what I'm doing. I'm gonna actually just demonstrate this out the bar. I'm doing this and I'm pressing into the ground and pulling my chest up and then pressing. I'm pulling the bar down and I'm pulling my chest up until the bar touches my chest and I'm almost like hovering. So I'm actually feeling the negative going through my feet and my hands. So while I'm going down here, there's pressure in my feet at the same time. So I'm pushing this up because what happens is we're holding the weight here, the weight's pushing us in here and pushing us all the way down. So for me to continue that power or that force, I'm gonna push against it as well from my feet, and that'll give me a lot more stability. How am I gonna grab? On a few things, right? For me, if you have shoulder issues, right? If you feel like your shoulders are a little wonky when you're pressing, give yourself about a thumb and a half width away. So when you're at the bottom of your rep, you don't have your arms super wide like this. Now, if you grab the bar super wide, you are putting a lot of stress on your shoulders. You can still do it, just make sure you're doing it properly, under control. But for the main point would be to grab the weight at a distance that's comfortable for your shoulders. I'm already sitting down, I'm gonna readjust myself, head back. I'm gonna automatically push my chest in the air. So if the shoulders back and away from your ears isn't good for you, I just want you to pretend there's a hook on your chest and pull your chest to the ceiling. That's gonna put a natural arch in your back. I don't want you to think arching your back. I want you to think just pulling your chest up, and that's gonna naturally put a nice curve in your lower back, which is fine. You don't want to excessively put a curve in your back. Again, we're just pulling from here, up like this. That's gonna naturally set my shoulders, or we can do back and away from your ears and keep your chest up. I'm gonna put my hands back just like this. I'm gonna slide underneath. I'm gonna check and see how far my hands are away. And what I wanna do is I can measure with my thumbs. So it's really easy. If you have one of the bars that I call it the smooth and the rough. I'm gonna put my fingers right at the end of the smooth, at the beginning of the smooth. And if that's too close, I'm gonna pull my thumb in like this, like 90 degrees. I'm gonna push my hand out again. And now I'm even on both sides. Or I can use these marks here and say pinky on the first little smooth, or whatever's comfortable. Me, I'm gonna do pinky finger on the smooth. Now from here, here's the way you wanna hold a bar. Safety, we wrap. If you're comfortable, we're still here, but we still wanna be comfortable here. We're not bending on the wrist, we're actually putting the weight here on our hands. This part is getting the tension, not this. So you want your wrist, fist, and elbow underneath the weight. We don't want to be with our thumb like this. That's the first thing that Mike does. He has his thumb this way. Why? Because when we're going down, the thumb, it's not a good place to have your thumbs. So don't even warm up like this. Don't even train like this. Get your thumb either here or here. Okay, so now we're here, we're set up. Again, feet, chest is high. We're just gonna extend the elbows up and then just guide it in front of us until it's basically right over the top of our chest. And from here, we're gonna pull the weight down. You see how my chest is already going up? We're gonna pull the weight down to my chest. We're gonna touch it, but stay engaged, not relax. We're gonna stay engaged and drive up. controlling it down, chest up, drive. Control it down, chest up, drive. And you want to maintain this posture the entire time. We don't want to get here and then deflate and then press everything this way. Keep everything in this posture. You're going to pretend you're pushing yourself into the ground for that concentric load phase. And that negative phase, we're going to pretend we're doing an inverted row and pulling our chest high and keeping high and pressing.
A few quick warm-ups just to get the back nice and loose. We have got two big rowing movements on this split, the T-bar row and the barbell bent over row. I would always favor this one because you've got the chest support.
Very true. So your chest support and back exercises are going to trump all free weight exercises because the limiting factor will be your conditioning in terms of how much muscle endurance you have to be able to stay in that hinged position, as well as your core, and then still be able to progress without it tiring out, because that will tire out before your back is tired or before your back can actually progress in weight. So chest supported T-bar rows is an awesome option. Great choice here. Let's watch him do his reps when he's got some weight on. The reps are solid, and he's doing a little bit of a variation with his feet on the floor instead of on the pad. And he says that actually helps his core and doesn't give him so much stress on his stomach. I'm gonna go over and actually just demonstrate this for you guys so you guys understand both of those feet positionings, but as well as making sure that we're getting all we can in terms of loading the lats. Even though you're sitting on a T-bar machine and you're just rowing, it doesn't mean you're hitting lats. It means you're doing the machine. So I'm gonna ensure that your guys are actually hitting lats the entire time. So if I pull from here, see where my elbows go, as opposed to being like this, right? You're still gonna get a stretch either from being here or here. We just wanna make sure that we get a stretch. Now, what we also wanna make sure is that we're actually active from the floor. That's why I like how Mike is doing it standing, because has no choice but to stay active. But what I don't want is for you to be here and then our legs are kind of like this, right? I'm gonna be forced here and still active in my lower back, my glutes, my core. Just because we're standing, we don't wanna be like this and then pulling. You wanna be in the ground here. So when I'm up here, I'm lowering myself, I'm active from the ground. Same thing when I'm feet on the pad. I'm gonna be on the pad and I wanna be active in the pad, pressing into the pad, having a little bit of bend in the knees, still active. I don't wanna be here. And I see this happen. This happens all the time. I wanna see this, you wanna be in like a plank position from here. So when I'm pulling, we're stretching and we have a pull. We're stretching and we have a pull. Nice stretch and then pull. Now, to make sure the lats are getting all of the work, and they probably are anyway by default from just doing the exercise itself. But a couple of things I like to address all the time. When we have the handles here, I want you to think about putting pressure, like you're pulling, I'm pushing these back. If the handles weren't here, I'd be doing this, right? So I wanna do this action when my arms are my hands are on the handles. I wanna pull. So when I'm actually pulling, my lats stay engaged so we avoid pulling up here like this. So I wanna pull on the handles like I'm trying to pull it backwards and then row. Stretch all the way out, head down, open up the back, and then pull. Even at the bottom here, I'm still pulling my hands back like this. A couple of things I like to do is grab some D handles and put them on the straight part of the handles, and that's gonna give me a different grip. It's gonna give me a nice hammer grip, as if I was doing basically a regular row and rowing back and having a little more control this way. Having the D handles to the top of your T-bar will give you that neutral grip that's mostly like you've been pulling all other pulling machines, whether it's a vertical pull machine, low row, dumbbell row. We have our hands the exact same way, and it feels very natural pulling. Again, you can see the handle, how my handles are pulled back like this and not out here. They're pulled back, tension's still there, and the lats are on fire. Remember to always engage your core while you're on this. You don't want your core to be disengaged and just wrenching your back and hyperextending. We want to be engaging the core, so when we come up, we're pushing through here and we're strong this way. I'm pushing through my core. So stay engaged from floor to core to fingertips. Anyway guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned all the cues that I've provided for you for this video, and make sure that you are optimizing your training. Until next time, you know it is iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing.